The space station was quiet in the lower halls. Human engineer Daniel walked slowly, holding a small toolkit. He was told to fix a power line near the water system, but the station was huge, and he often got lost. His footsteps echoed on the metal floor. He reached a door that was half open. Inside, he saw a soft blue light. He thought it was the room he needed. He pushed the door wider and stepped in. The air inside was warm and filled with a sweet smell. Then he froze, standing only a few steps away was a young alien woman. Her skin glowed faintly like moonlight, and her silver hair fell across her shoulders. She was unclothed, her back turned to him as she washed in a shallow pool of clear water. For a moment, Daniel could not breathe. He knew he should leave, but shock rooted him in place. The girl turned, her golden eyes meeting his. She gasped. A sharp cry escaped her lips. The sound was soft yet full of terror. Her hands flew up to cover herself. "You saw me," she whispered, her voice trembling. Daniel's heart pounded. He raised his hands quickly. "I am sorry. I didn't know. I thought this was the maintenance room." His voice shook, but it was honest. Her golden eyes widened even more. Fear and disbelief mixed on her face. "You don't understand," she said. "In my people's law, no one can see me like this, unless he is meant to bond with me." Daniel blinked. His mouth went dry. "Bond? What do you mean?" She backed toward the wall, trembling as if his presence alone burned her. "You have broken the sacred rule, a forbidden glance. Now my life, my future, is tied to you." Daniel stepped back, panic rising. "No, I didn't mean to. I'll leave now. I'll never speak of this, please." But before he could finish, heavy footsteps echoed from the hallway outside. The girl's face turned pale. "The guards are coming," she whispered. "If they know you saw me, they will kill you, and they will cast me out. I will lose everything." Daniel's blood turned cold. He looked toward the door. The voices of the alien guards grew louder. They were laughing, unaware of what had happened inside. The girl looked at him with desperate eyes. Her voice was almost a plea. "Listen to me. If they ask, you must say you are my chosen. You must stand beside me, or we are both doomed." Daniel swallowed hard. He never wanted this. He never asked for it, yet the terror in her eyes pulled at something deep inside him. He gave a small nod. "All right, I'll do it," he said quietly. The door slid open. Two tall alien guards entered, their armor glowing faintly. Their eyes moved from the trembling girl to the human standing near the pool. Suspicion flashed across their faces. The girl quickly stepped forward, her voice steady though her hands shook. "He is mine," she declared. "He saw what none may see. And now he belongs to me." The guard's eyes narrowed. The room grew tense. Daniel felt the weight of their gaze. His fate had changed with one mistake, one forbidden glance, and there was no way back. The two alien guards stood still, their sharp eyes scanning the scene. Their weapons glowed at their sides. One of them tilted his head, his voice deep and cold. "Is this true? Human, do you claim her?" Daniel's throat went dry. He wanted to shout no, to explain that it was only an accident, but the girl's golden eyes locked on him, filled with a warning. She had just told him, if he denied, both would suffer. His hands shook. He forced the words out. "Yes, I claim her." The guards' faces darkened. They stepped closer, looking down at him as if he were an insect. One sneered, "Strange, a human bonding with our kind, but the law is clear." He turned to the girl. "He has seen what none should see. Now he is yours, but he is also bound to our trials." The girl bowed her head. Her silver hair fell forward, hiding her face. "I accept him," she said softly, though her voice trembled. The guards stepped back. One of them pressed a small device on his wrist. A chime echoed through the station. A signal had been sent. Daniel whispered urgently, "What did they mean by trials?" The girl didn't look at him. Her shoulders shook faintly. "My people's law is cruel. To prove a bond is real, we must face tests. If we fail, we are punished. If you fail, You will be killed. Daniel's heart dropped. His life had changed in minutes. One mistake had trapped him in a law he did not understand. The guards ordered them to walk. They were led through long glowing halls. Aliens stopped and stared. Some gasped. Some laughed. Daniel felt every gaze like a knife. He wanted to disappear. Finally, they reached a tall chamber with walls of black stone. Inside, elders waited. Their robes shimmered with silver symbols. Their eyes burned with judgment. One elder leaned forward, his voice sharp. So, it is true, a human broke the sacred veil, and now stands as her bonded. Tell us, human, do you understand the weight of this act? Daniel's mouth opened, but no sound came. The girl stepped forward quickly, speaking before he could. He understands, and he accepts. He will face the law of bonding. A murmur rose through the chamber. The elders exchanged looks. Some seemed amused, others angry. The oldest elder raised his hand. Silence fell. Then let it be so. At dawn, the trials begin. His heart, his words, and his spirit will be tested. If he fails, his life ends. If he succeeds, the bond is forever. Daniel's knees almost gave way. He whispered harshly to the girl as they were escorted out. Why did you say yes for me? Why didn't you tell them the truth? Her steps were heavy, her voice low. Because if you denied me, I would be ruined. My people would cast me out. They would strip me of my name. I would have nothing. She turned to him, her golden eyes shimmering with pain. And they would kill you, anyway. Daniel stopped walking, his chest burning. He wanted to shout, to escape, but one look at her trembling hands stopped him. She wasn't his enemy. She was as much trapped as he was. The hall grew quiet as they reached a small chamber. Guards left them inside, locking the door. For the first time, they were alone. Daniel sat heavily on a stone bench. His voice was softer now. What's your name? The girl hesitated, then she whispered, Liara. Daniel nodded slowly, his voice steadier. I'm Daniel. We'll figure this out. Liara lifted her gaze, surprise flickering in her eyes. No one had spoken to her like that before, not even her own people. Outside, a bell rang through the station, a warning, a reminder. At dawn, the trials of bonding would begin, and there was no turning back. The station bells rang again, their sound echoing through every hall. Daniel woke with a start. His body was heavy, and his heart thudded in his chest. He had barely slept. The small chamber where he and Liara had been locked felt colder now. Liara sat in the corner, her silver hair glowing faintly in the dim light. Her golden eyes were fixed on him, calm yet filled with fear. She spoke quietly. It is time. The elders will not wait. Guards entered and ordered them to rise. Daniel followed, his legs stiff. His mind was still trying to understand what was happening. Just yesterday he was only a mechanic. Now he was standing on trial for a bond he never chose. They were led into a vast arena. Its ceiling rose high, filled with glowing crystals. Aliens filled the stands. Their voices created a low hum that seemed to vibrate in Daniel's bones. He felt their eyes on him, mocking, judging, waiting. In the center stood the elders, robed in black and silver. The oldest stepped forward, his voice carried across the chamber. By the sacred law, a bond must be proven. Today, this human will face the trials. If his heart is false, he will die. If it is true, the bond is sealed forever. Daniel clenched his fists. He wanted to protest, but Liara's hand brushed against his. She whispered, Stay calm, speak with honesty. That is the only way. The first trial began. A tall elder lifted a glowing crystal orb. He placed it on a pedestal between Daniel and Liara. The crystal of truth, the elder said. It reveals lies. You must answer 3 questions. If you lie, the crystal will burn, and your fate is sealed. Daniel's stomach tightened. He had never believed in alien rituals, but the way the crowd watched made him realize this was no game. The first elder asked, Human, why did you enter her chamber? Daniel swallowed. His throat felt dry. I entered by mistake. I thought I T was a maintenance room. The crystal glowed softly, warm and gentle. A murmur swept through the crowd. The second elder stepped forward, his eyes sharp. When you saw her, what did you feel? Daniel froze. Heat rushed to his face. He could not say nothing. He could not lie. He breathed out slowly, shock, then shame, because I knew I should not have seen her. The crystal glowed again, brighter this time. The crowd shifted, whispers rising. The third elder's voice was cold. Would you claim her as your bond willingly, knowing your life will change forever? Daniel's heart pounded. He looked at Liara. Her golden eyes trembled as she waited for his answer. He thought of freedom, of escape, of going back to the quiet life he had before, but then he saw her, fragile, afraid, yet strong enough to stand with him. His voice was steady when he spoke. I would, yes, I would claim her. The crystal flared with a pure golden light. The crowd gasped. Some shouted in anger, others in awe. The elders' faces darkened. They had not expected the human to speak with such truth. Liara's breath caught. She whispered so only he could hear, you did not lie, even when you could have. Daniel gave a small nod. His chest felt heavy but firm. He had spoken from his heart. The eldest elder raised his hand. The first trial is past. His voice boomed. But there are more. The bond is not yet proven. Next comes the trial of spirit, and there, truth will not save you. The crowd roared, stamping their feet. The sound shook the arena. Daniel felt the ground vibrate. Under him, Liara gripped his arm tightly, her voice shaking. Daniel, the next trial will break you. If you are not careful. Daniel's jaw tightened. His eyes locked on the elders. He whispered back, then let it try. The second trial was about to begin, and this time, survival would depend on more than words. The arena grew silent as the elders stepped back. The crowd leaned forward, waiting. A younger elder lifted his staff. Glowing symbols appeared in the air. The floor beneath Daniel and Liara shifted. Plates of stone moved apart, forming a circle. The elder's voice thundered. Now begins the trial of spirit. The human must walk through the veil of shadows. He must face what lives inside his heart. If his spirit breaks, he will not return. Daniel stared at the dark opening forming in the floor. It looked like a tunnel filled with mist. He felt cold air rising from it. Liara grabbed his arm, her voice urgent. You must not let the shadows control you. They will show you fear, regret, even lies. If you believe them, you will lose. Daniel nodded, though fear clawed inside his chest. He stepped forward as the crowd roared. The mist swallowed him, and the world changed. He was no longer in the arena. He stood in a broken place, silent, cold, and endless. The mist twisted into shapes. At first they were shadows, but soon they took forms he knew. His father, his crew from Earth, faces of people he had failed. Daniel, the shadow of his father, whispered, you are weak, you cannot protect anyone, you never belonged here. Daniel clenched his fists, his chest ached. He wanted to shout, but another figure stepped from the mist. Liara, her golden eyes filled with tears. You will abandon me too, the shadow version of her said. Like everyone else, you will leave me broken. Daniel staggered back. The words cut deeper than knives. He had only just met her, yet the thought of leaving her behind filled him with pain. The shadows swirled faster. Voices overlapped. Coward, failure, unworthy. They circled him, pressing close. His head rang with the noise. His knees shook. But then he remembered Liara's real voice, the way she had whispered to him in the chamber. He ream. The arena floor shifted again. Stone tiles slid back, revealing a wide circle of smooth black ground. The elders raised their staffs, and the crowd hushed. All eyes turned to Daniel. The eldest elder spoke. The final trial is strength. The human must fight. Victory proves his worth. Defeat proves his spirit was false. A gate opened at the far side of the arena. Heavy footsteps echoed. A tall alien warrior stepped out. His skin was dark green, his body marked with scars. He carried no weapon. His body alone was built for battle. The crowd erupted in cheers, chanting his name, Vorik, Vorik. Liara's face turned pale. She whispered urgently to Daniel, "He is Vorik, a rival. He wanted me as his bond. He has trained for combat since birth. He will not hold back." Daniel's stomach twisted. He had no weapon, no armor. He was just a mechanic. But when he looked at Liara's golden eyes filled with fear, he felt a fire inside. He could not turn back. The elder raised his staff. "Begin." Vorik charged like a storm. His fist swung toward Daniel's chest. Daniel barely rolled aside. The blow hit the ground, cracking stone. The crowd roared. Daniel scrambled to his feet. His mind raced. He could not match strength. He had to think. He ducked another strike, pain shooting through his ribs as Vorik's arm grazed him. He coughed, but forced himself to stay up. Vorik laughed. "Weak human, you cannot protect her. She will be mine when you fall." Daniel's jaw tightened. He dodged again, but his body was slowing. Sweat burned his eyes. He needed a plan. He spotted the cracked floor where Vorik's fist had struck earlier. An idea sparked. He waited, breathing hard, as Vorik rushed again. At the last moment, Daniel shifted, letting the massive alien's weight slam down on the weak stone. The floor split. Vorik's leg sank slightly. His balance broke. Daniel threw himself forward, ram ing his shoulder into Vorik's chest with all his strength. Vorik stumbled, crashing to one knee. The crowd gasped. Daniel grabbed a loose shard of stone from the broken floor and raised it high. The crowd fell silent, waiting to see if he would strike. Vorik glared at him, hatred burning. "Do it, human. Show them you are savage." Daniel's chest heaved. His arm shook. But then he dropped the shard to the ground. His voice rang out. "Strength is not only fists and blood. Strength is knowing when not to kill." The arena went silent. The elder's eyes widened. The crowd whispered, confused. Liara's heart pounded. She stepped closer, her voice trembling but proud. "He speaks truth. He fights not for pride, but for me. That is real strength." Vorik roared in rage, ripping his leg free. He lunged again. But Daniel, now ready, moved faster than before. He sidestepped and used Vorik's momentum against him, pushing with all he had. He sent the larger warrior crashing to the ground. The arena shook. With the impact, Vorik lay dazed, unable to rise. Daniel stood over him, his body trembling with exhaustion. His voice cracked but strong. "I will not kill, but I will not yield." The elders raised their staffs together. A deep chime filled the arena. The eldest spoke. "The human has passed the trial of strength. The bond is sealed." The crowd exploded, some cheering, others shouting in anger. The sound was thunder. Liara rushed forward, catching Daniel before he collapsed. Her voice shook with relief. "You did it, Daniel. You are truly my bonded now." Daniel's vision blurred. His chest ached. He barely heard the words of the elder as they echoed above. "But beware, for when one bond is sealed, enemies are born." And in the shadows above the arena, Vorik's clan watched with burning eyes. The trial was over, but the real danger had only just begun. The arena slowly emptied, but the sound of voices lingered. Some aliens shouted in praise, others muttered curses. Daniel leaned on Liara as they were guided back through the glowing halls. His body was weak, every step painful. Liara's hands gripped his arm tightly. Her golden eyes burned with relief. "You won," she whispered. "No human has ever done this before. You are truly bound to me now." Daniel tried to smile, but his ribs ached. "I only survived because you believed in me," he said. His words made Liara's cheeks flush with warmth. Yet in the shadows of the upper balconies, Vorik's clan gathered. Their leader's eyes were cold as stone, his voice a growl. "The human humiliated us. This bond cannot stand. Tonight, we strike." Back in their small chamber, Daniel sat on the stone bench, holding his side. Liara brought him water from a crystal jug. She sat close, her silver hair brushing his shoulder. "You risked your life for me," she said softly, "but it is not over. Vorik's clan will not forget this. They will come for us, for you." Daniel took a slow sip, His eyes met hers. Then we stay ready. We won once. We can win again. Liara shook her head. You don't understand. To them, you are not just an enemy. You are an insult to their honor. They will not stop. Not until one of us is gone. Before Daniel could answer, the chamber door slid open. A robed figure entered. It was not a guard, but a messenger of the elders. His voice was quiet but sharp. The bond is sealed, but you are watched, human. If you break her trust, the elders themselves will cast judgment. Daniel nodded slowly. I won't break it, he said firmly. The messenger studied him for a moment, then left. The door closed. Silence returned. Liara sighed and leaned closer, her voice softer now. Do you regret it? Claiming me? Choosing this bond? Daniel hesitated. His life had been simple before, but now his heart beat differently when she looked at him. He shook his head slowly. No, I don't regret it. Liara's lips trembled with something like a smile, but before she could speak, the lights in the hall flickered. A warning siren echoed through the station. Daniel stood quickly, ignoring his pain. What now? Liara's face turned pale. They are here, she whispered. Vorek's clan is making their move. The chamber shook as a blast rattled the walls. Smoke drifted under the door. Voices shouted outside, angry, violent. Daniel grabbed Liara's hand, pulling her to the far side of the room. Stay behind me, he said. His voice was firm even though fear gnawed at him. The door slammed open. 3 alien warriors stormed in, their armor dark and jagged. Their eyes burned with hate. The human lives still, one growled. Not for long. Daniel's chest tightened. He had no weapon. His body was already weak, but he stepped forward, shielding Liara with his own body. Liara's heart raced. She wanted to scream, but Daniel's steady stance stopped her. He looked so small before the towering warriors, yet he did not move. The lead warrior raised his blade, pointing it at Daniel's chest. His voice echoed with fury. Tonight the bond ends. Tonight the human dies. Liara gripped Daniel's arm, whispering desperately. Daniel, don't. But Daniel's eyes stayed locked on the attackers, his voice low, steady, and unyielding. If you want her, you'll have to go through me first. The warriors snarled, stepping closer. The chamber filled with danger. The fight was about to begin again. The chamber walls shook as the 3 armored warriors stepped closer. Their blades glimmered under the dim lights. Daniel stood in front of Liara, his chest rising and falling. His body ached from the trial, but he refused to move aside. The lead warrior sneered. You should never have lived past the arena, human. Tonight your bond ends. Daniel clenched his fists. His voice was hoarse but steady. I don't care about your pride. You will not touch her. The warriors laughed, harsh and cruel. One lunged forward, blade flashing. Daniel barely shifted aside, grabbing a broken piece of stone from the floor. The blade missed his chest by inches, sparks flying as it scraped the wall. Daniel swung the stone shard with all his strength. It struck the warrior's arm, not enough to kill, but enough to make him stagger back. Liara gasped, her golden eyes wide with fear and awe. The second warrior rushed in, faster, stronger. Daniel raised the shard again, but this time the warrior knocked it aside. Easily, a heavy fist slammed into Daniel's ribs. Pain exploded through him. He stumbled, choking. Liara cried out, Stop. Please. She stepped forward, her hands glowing faintly with the soft light of her people's inner energy, but the lead warrior barked, Silence, girl. You are his shame. Daniel forced himself up, his vision blurred, his body screamed to fall, but when he saw Liara pushed back, her small frame trembling before them, something deeper woke inside him. He roared and charged, catching the second warrior off guard. His shoulder slammed into the alien's chest. They crashed into the wall. Stone cracked. The warrior cursed, struggling to rise. The third warrior advanced now, his blade ready. Daniel had no strength left. He braced for the strike, but Liara suddenly raised her glowing hands. A pulse of golden light burst outward. slamming into the warrior. He staggered back, snarling in shock. Daniel turned his head, stunned. Liara, what was that? Her chest heaved. A gift of my kind, but I cannot use it for long, the lead warrior growled, fury burning. Enough games, he dies now. He swung his blade downward at Daniel's head. Daniel reacted without thinking. He grabbed the fallen shard again, twisting his body aside. The blade sliced across his shoulder, blood spraying. Pain burned like fire, but with his other hand, Daniel rammed the stone upward, smashing it into the warrior's face. The alien howled, stumbling back, blood running down his cheek. The crowd of angry voices outside the chamber grew louder. Footsteps pounding, more were coming. Liara pulled Daniel toward the back wall, her voice urgent. We cannot fight them all. There's a hidden way behind this chamber. Follow me. Daniel staggered, barely standing, but he nodded. Together they rushed to the far corner. Liara pressed her hand against a smooth panel. A secret door slid open, revealing a dark tunnel. The three warriors, bleeding but still alive, shouted behind them, cowards. You cannot hide forever. Daniel and Liara slipped into the tunnel as the door sealed shut. Darkness wrapped around them. Only Liara's faint golden glow lit the way. Daniel's breathing was ragged. His body felt broken, but his hands stayed tight on hers. He whispered, You saved me back there. Liara shook her head, tears shining in her eyes. No, Daniel. We saved each other. From behind the sealed wall, the warriors' voices still echoed, promising vengeance. The sound made Liara tremble, but Daniel's grip only grew stronger. They had escaped the ambush, but the hunt was only beginning. The tunnel was narrow and dark. The walls were damp with strange glowing moss. Daniel leaned heavily against the rough stone, his shoulder bleeding from the blade wound. Liara walked beside him, her golden glow faint but steady, guiding their way. Behind them, faint echoes rang through the walls. Vorek's clan was searching, their angry shouts carried like thunder in the distance. Daniel's steps dragged, his chest burned with every breath, but he refused to stop. Liara kept glancing at him, worry filling her golden eyes. You're hurt too badly. If we don't stop the bleeding, you'll collapse. Daniel shook his head, his voice hoarse but firm. If we stop now, they'll catch us. We have to keep moving. Liara bit her lip, torn between fear and determination. She guided him deeper into the tunnels. The air grew colder, water dripped from cracks above. Each sound seemed too loud, echoing like a signal to their hunters. Suddenly, the tunnel split into two paths. Liara paused. Left leads to the old supply docks, right goes to the crystal chambers. Which way? Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, listening. He heard faint footsteps echoing stronger from the right. He opened his eyes. Left. We go left. They hurried down the left passage, their footsteps quickening, but soon they reached a wider chamber. Broken crates scattered across the floor. It looked abandoned. Dust rose around them. Daniel sank onto a crate, his body trembling. Liara knelt beside him, ripping a strip of her own robe. She pressed it against his bleeding shoulder. He hissed in pain, but did not pull away. Her voice was soft but firm. Why do you keep fighting for me? You could have denied me back at the trial. You could have let me be cast out. You'd be free. Daniel looked at her, his face pale yet steady. Because I saw your eyes, Liara. You were terrified, alone. I couldn't walk away. Her breath caught. For a moment, the fear on her face melted, replaced by something warmer, something fragile but real. Before either could speak more, heavy footsteps pounded in the tunnels behind them. Liara's glow flickered with fear. They're close, she whispered. Daniel forced himself up, ignoring the sharp pain. He scanned the chamber quickly. His eyes fell on a rusted vent cover near the floor. He limped over and kicked it hard. The cover fell loose, revealing a narrow crawlspace. Inside, Daniel urged, Hurry. Liara slid in first, her small frame squeezing through. Daniel followed, pulling the vent back in place behind him. They crawled through the narrow shaft, their breathing loud in the silence. The warriors entered the chamber just as the vent closed. Their voices growled in frustration. They were here. Find them. Daniel and Liara kept moving, the shaft twisting and turning until it opened into another dark tunnel. They stumbled out, gasping. Daniel leaned against the wall, sweat dripping down his face. Liara pressed her hands gently against his wound, whispering softly in her language. A faint golden warmth spread into his skin. The bleeding slowed. The pain eased just enough. Daniel looked at her in surprise. You healed me? Liara's eyes shimmered. A little, not enough. But it may keep you alive. He managed a weak smile. Then that's enough. The tunnel stretched ahead, endless and silent, but behind them, the sound of pursuit still echoed faintly. Vorek's clan would not give up. Liara reached for Daniel's hand, her fingers trembling yet firm. If they catch us, they will kill you, and take me. But if we keep running, maybe we can find a way out of this station. Daniel squeezed her hand, his eyes sharp. Despite the pain, then we run together, no matter what. They moved forward into the darkness, hand in hand, but far ahead. Fa. Red glow began to flicker in the tunnel. Something, or someone, was waiting for them. The tunnel stretched on, narrow and damp. Daniel's steps were heavy, his shoulder burning with pain. Liara's faint golden glow lit their path, but ahead of them, another light flickered, red, steady, and unnatural. Liara slowed, her hand tightening around Daniel's. That glow. It is not from the station walls, she whispered. It could be a trap. Daniel narrowed his eyes, squinting through the shadows. The red glow pulsed like a heartbeat, casting long shapes against the tunnel walls. He whispered back, trap or not, we can't turn back. They're still behind us. The echoes of pursuit grew louder, distant shouts bouncing through the stone passages. The clan hunters were still on their trail. Daniel clenched his jaw and moved forward, pulling Liara gently with him. The tunnel opened into a wide chamber, its ceiling high and jagged. At the center stood an ancient machine, half buried in rock and dust. Its core glowed red, casting strange patterns across the walls. The hum of power filled the air, low and steady. Liara gasped softly. This is older than my people, older than the station itself, a relic. Her golden eyes flickered with fear and awe. They say the relic chooses who may touch it. Anyone else dies. Daniel studied it, his heart pounding. The machine looked alive, breathing, waiting. He asked, what does it do? Liara shook her head. No one knows. Some say it reveals truth. Some say it binds souls. Others say it destroys. Before Daniel could reply, heavy footsteps thundered behind them. The hunters' voices grew louder, echoing closer. They are here. Daniel's pulse raced. They had no weapons, no place to hide. His gaze shifted to the red core, burning like fire. It might kill him, but it might also be their only chance. He turned to Liara. If I touch it, maybe it will give us something to fight back. Liara's eyes widened. She gripped his arm hard. No, Daniel, if it rejects you, it will burn you alive. Please, don't. The hunter's footsteps grew louder, shadows flickering at the chamber entrance. Daniel met her gaze, his voice low but steady. Then we have no choice. Before she could stop him, he stepped forward and placed his hand on the glowing core. The chamber exploded with light. The red glow surged into his body, racing through his veins like fire. Daniel screamed, his knees buckling. The power seared through him. Liara cried out, running to him. Her hands reached for his shoulders. Daniel. But then the light shifted. It softened, mixing with a golden glow. The core responded not with destruction, but with recognition. The red light dimmed and wrapped around him like a cloak. The hunters burst into the chamber, their blades raised. But when they saw Daniel standing, his body surrounded by red and gold energy, they froze. Their eyes widened with fear. The lead hunter snarled, trying to hide his unease. Tricks. That relic belongs to no one. Daniel's voice shook but carried strength. It chose me. His eyes glowed faintly red as the energy pulsed through him. Liara's breath caught, her heart pounded. She whispered, "Daniel, you carry the relic's bond now." The hunters hesitated, fear and rage battling inside them. They had expected an easy kill, not this. The leader raised his blade anyway. "Then we kill you and take it." The chamber trembled as the relic hummed louder. Daniel's fists clenched, power sparking across his skin. He had no training, no understanding, but he knew one thing. This power was his only chance. Liara stepped closer, her hand finding his, her voice steady. "You are not alone. We face them together." Daniel nodded once, his chest rising, his voice low but strong. "Then let's show them why this bond cannot be broken." The hunters roared and charged, and the chamber erupted into chaos. The hunters rushed forward, their armor clattering, blades raised high. Daniel braced himself, the red energy from the relic still burning through his veins. It felt wild, untamed, like fire and thunder trapped inside his body. The first hunter swung his blade down. Daniel lifted his arm without thinking. A burst of red light exploded from his hand, striking the warrior's chest. The impact hurled him across the chamber, smashing him into the wall. The crowd of hunters gasped, even Liara froze, her golden eyes wide with shock. Daniel looked at his own hand, trembling. I didn't even try." The second hunter roared and charged, moving faster. His blade grazed Daniel's side, but before the pain could register, Daniel twisted, releasing another wave of red energy. The hunter's blade shattered like glass. Sparks flew as the alien stumbled back in fear. Liara's voice rang out, strong and clear. "It accepts you, Daniel. The relic has chosen you as its vessel." Daniel's chest heaved. The power was heavy, dangerous, but it pulsed in rhythm with his heart. For the first time since the trials began, he felt not helpless, but strong. The leader of the hunters, larger and more scarred than the rest, bared his teeth. "This changes nothing, human. Power cannot change what you are. You are still weak." He charged with a roar, his blade swung wide. Daniel braced, pushing his arm forward, but this time, instead of wild light, the red glow formed a shield in front of him. The blade struck, sparks flew, but the shield held firm. The leader's eyes widened. Daniel pushed forward, the shield shattering into shards of energy that blasted outward. The hunter was thrown to the ground, his blade broken. The chamber shook, dust falling from the ceiling. The relic's core pulsed brighter, responding to Daniel's fury. The hunters who remained stepped back in fear, their voices shook. "S is not possible. No human should carry that power." Daniel stood tall, blood still dripping from his wounds, but his eyes glowed faintly red. He spoke with a voice steady as stone. "Maybe I shouldn't, but I do, and I'll use it to protect her." Liara stepped forward, her small hand sliding into his. Her golden glow spread into the red energy, mixing. The colors swirled together, brighter than before. The air vibrated, the relic's hum echoing their unity. The hunters shielded their eyes. Their leader crawled back, rage twisting his face. "This bond is a curse. You will bring ruin to us all." Daniel's jaw tightened. He lifted his arm one last time. The red and gold light surged outward like a storm. It struck the hunters, throwing them out of the chamber entrance. Their weapons clattered to the ground. The chamber fell silent. Only the relic's hum and Daniel's ragged breathing remained. Liara's chest rose and fell quickly. Her golden eyes shimmered with awe and fear. "Daniel, you are no longer just mine by law. The relic itself has accepted you. My people cannot deny you now." Daniel staggered, the power fading slowly. He dropped to one knee, sweat dripping from his face. "Then maybe we have a chance to end this." But the relic pulsed again, louder this time. A deep sound shook the chamber. The walls trembled, cracks spread through the stone. Liara clutched his arm, panic in her voice. "It is waking fully, Daniel. The relic is not done. If it rises, it may destroy this whole station." Daniel forced himself up, his body trembling, his eyes locked on the glowing core. Then we have one choice, face it together. Liara nodded, her fingers gripping his tightly. The relic's glow spread, flooding the chamber with blinding red and gold light, and the true test of their bond was about to begin. The chamber was swallowed in light. Red and gold waves surged from the relic, shaking the walls. Dust and stones rained from above. Daniel held Liara's hand tightly, shielding her with his body. The relic's core split open, revealing a sphere of pure energy. Its voice was not words but thunder in their minds. Two souls, one bond. Prove your truth, or be unmade. Daniel gritted his teeth, his knees weak. It's testing us, he whispered. It wants to know if our bond is real. Liara's golden eyes glistened, her voice trembled. Daniel, if we fail, it will kill us both. Before them, the light twisted into visions. Illusions formed in the air. Daniel saw Earth, the quiet workshop he once called home. A voice whispered, return, leave her, live free. His chest ached. For one heartbeat, he longed for the simple life he lost. But then he looked at Liara, trembling yet holding his hand. Her trust shone in her eyes. He shook his head, his voice steady. I won't leave her, not now, not ever. The illusion shattered like glass. Now Liara's trial came. The light showed her people, elders dressed in silver. Their voices thundered, this human makes you weak. Break the bond, return to us, or be cast away forever. Her heart raced, fear clawed at her. She had lived her life longing for acceptance, but when she looked at Daniel, battered and bleeding yet standing for her, she found her answer. Her voice rang clear. I don't want their chains. I want him. The relic roared, the chamber trembling harder. The red and gold light wrapped tighter around them both, but the final test was cruel. The light split Daniel and Liara apart, a wall of fire rising between them. The voice boomed in their minds. One must fall, one must rise. Choose who remains. Daniel's chest clenched. Without hesitation, he shouted, take me, let her live. Liara screamed, pressing against the wall of fire. Her tears sparkled in the glow. No. If he dies, I will not live without him. Take me instead. The relic's hum grew deafening. Their cries clashed, neither willing to sacrifice the other. Then, in that moment, their hands broke through the fire, fingers locking together. Red and gold light fused around them. Their voices rose as one. We choose together, or not at all. The fire shattered, exploding into sparks. The relic's core pulsed one last time, then it quieted, its light softening. The chamber calmed, the walls stopped trembling. Daniel and Liara stood in the silence, their hands still clasped. The relic's voice faded into a whisper, bond proven, forever sealed. The light vanished, leaving only faint glowing lines etched on their wrists, a mark of unity. Liara lifted her wrist, her golden eyes wide. The bond mark, she whispered, it means we are bound for life. No law, no clan, no elder can break it now. Daniel looked at the mark on his own wrist, then at Liara, his lips curved into a tired smile. Guess it's official. Liara's breath caught, her cheeks warmed. She stepped closer, her voice soft. You chose me when you could have walked away. You saved me when no one else would. Now I belong with you. Daniel lifted his hand, brushing her silver hair back gently, his voice quiet but full of truth, and I belong with you. Outside the chamber, the elders and even Vorak's clan waited in silence. When the relic's light faded, they saw the bond marks glowing on Daniel and Liara's wrists. None dared to speak against it. The law had been answered by something higher. Daniel and Liara walked out of the chamber hand in hand, bruised, tired, but unbroken. Their bond had begun with a forbidden glance, but now it was a bond no power in the galaxy could deny. The crowd parted in silence, some bowed, some whispered, even Vorak's eyes lowered. Liara leaned against Daniel, her voice soft but certain, forever, Daniel, no matter what comes. Daniel squeezed her hand, his voice steady, forever, and together, they stepped into a future neither had chosen, but both now embraced.